Good day. Today's video is about Spoka structure, and this is Vidya Prem Kumar taking you through the Spoka structure according to the modern grammar. How do we identify a clause? The identification of a clause lies in the presence of a verb in the group of words that are available. If it is only a group of words without a verb, then it is only termed as a phrase and not as a clause. The most important marker of a clause is the presence of a verb or a verb phrase. The number of verb or verb phrases that are present separately in a clause or a sentence determines the number of clauses that are there in the sentence. In a simple sentence, there will be only one main clause with one predicate or one verb phrase which is vital to that main clause. Even if you do notice another verb clause, most of the time in a simple sentence, it will be a modifier inside a phrase rather than a part of the main clause itself. Complex sentences have more than two or more clauses, again identifiable by the number of verb phrases that are present in that sentence. Compound sentences are again made of more than two or more clauses, that is again identified to the number of verb phrases present in the sentence, but the additional marker for a compound sentence is the presence of conjunctions between these clauses. Now let's take a look at what are the elements of a clause. There are basically 5 elements in a clause. Subject, which is represented with the capital S. Predicate, which is represented with a capital P. Object, which is represented with a capital O. Complement, which is represented with capital C. And adverbial, which is represented with capital A. So basically a Spoka structure has 5 elements to it, and that is what forms a complete clause. The characteristics of Spoka structure is that the S, P, O and C have fixed positions in the structure. They do not shift or change their positions in a normal sentence. Whereas A is always optional, that is you can drop that particular section and yet the sentence will make complete sense, and moreover it can be moved to various positions inside the Spoka structure, that is SPOC. It can be placed between the S and P or between P and O, within the P, between O and C, so it can be moved around easily in a sentence. These are the two identifying markers of an A. One, that it is optional, you can always do without A, and two, it is the only movable element of a Spoka structure. Let's take the first one, that is subject. Subject is always occupied only by noun phrases or noun clauses. Nothing else can occupy that position. It always answers the question what, who or whom before the predicate. The important aspect that you need to pay attention to is the fact that these questions are asked before the predicate and a subject will answer that question. Okay. The same questions can be asked after the predicate, but it will be occupied by a different element. The one that answers the questions before the predicate is always called as the subject. Okay, and that's why it's also placed before the predicate or the verb phrase in a clause. In interrogative sentences, you may find that at times the subject is moved to within the predicate. We will take a look at it in another video. Predicate. Predicate is always and always only occupied by verb phrase. It cannot be occupied by any other phrase. So if ever you find a verb phrase in a clause or a sentence, it is a predicate and can be nothing else. The number of predicates in a sentence determine the number of clauses that are present in a sentence. Object. Now object is also again occupied only by noun phrase or a noun clause. Okay, just like subject is also occupied only by a noun phrase or a noun clause. It answers the question of what, who, whom after the predicate. Again, the important point here being, pay attention to the fact that these questions are answered after the predicate and not before the predicate. The moment these questions are answered before the predicate, that particular phrase or a clause becomes the subject. When it answers after the predicate or the verb phrase, it becomes the object. Okay, and objects always occupy the immediate position after the predicate in the SPOCA structure. There are two types of objects possible. Most of the time, your sentences will carry only one object. In these cases, do not mark it as object indirect or object direct. Only when there are two objects present in the same clause, in the main clause itself, do you need to mark it as object indirect or object direct. Now, the two differences between object indirect and object direct is, object indirect is always placed directly after the predicate. The position, immediate position after the predicate is always occupied by object indirect in case there are two objects in the clause. Indirect object is the receiving object. That is, this is the object, person, thing, place, whatever it is, that is going to receive the actions of the sentence. That is, whoever is conducting whatever action on another object, the results of it will be received by this particular object or this particular person or thing or place. That's why they are called as the indirect object. Okay, the effect of the action is indirectly on it. It's the recipient of the results of the action. Object direct is the object on which the action takes place directly. Okay, it is being acted upon directly on this, and ODs or object directs are always placed after the OI, that is object indirect. Okay, so when there are two objects, the first one up immediately after the predicate is always an OI, that is object indirect, and the next one is always OD, that is object direct. The next position that we are examining is that of complement. Now, complement is anything that adds value, quality, or characteristics to the subject or the object. Okay, so it is occupied by adjective phrase, noun phrase, and even noun clauses at time, because noun phrases and noun clauses also can be complementary to the subject or the object. So when you see that a clause or a phrase is adding more value, adding more characteristics, adding more quality to either the subject or the object, then it has to be marked as a complement. Okay, it is placed after the predicate and sometimes after the object, depending on what it is complement. Like objects, there are two types of complements also: the subject complement and the object complement. The subject complement adds character, quality, or value to the subject in the sentence and is always placed directly after the predicate. That is, there will be nothing between the predicate and the complement in case this complement is attached or is related to the subject. In case of object complement, it adds character or quality to the object in the sentence and therefore will always be placed after the object in the clause, okay, or the sentence. It will not be placed immediately after the predicate. It will always be placed after the object. That is because that particular complement is attached to the object and not to the subject. The last element that we are looking at is adverbial. Like I have already said, it is something that is optional to the SPOCA structure. SPOC can function without the adverbial also. Okay, adverbial is an additional phrase or additional information in the sentence. It can be occupied by a variety of things like adverb phrase, prepositional phrase, adverb clause, and even prepositional clauses at times. So in total, 4 things can occupy the adverbial position. Prepositional phrase, that is prepositional phrase which are directly a part of the main clause, or prepositional uh, clauses also which are directly a part of the main clause can be termed as adverbial. It will be an adverbial in the clause. Adverb phrases and adverb clauses. So any one of these can occupy the position of adverbial in a SPOCA structure. Okay, it is movable and generally can be moved and placed at different positions in a clause, and yet the clause will make complete sense. Okay, answers a variety of questions in the clause or the sentence, like when, where, in what manner, how long, compared to what, why, and how in a clause. Okay, so all of these questions, when you find answers for them, they generally are the adverbial in the clause. Now here's an example of a complete SPOCA structure. Okay, you have here a sentence which says they considered 80s style fashionable last summer. Okay, the first thing to do in a sentence is to first mark it as a main clause. The entire sentence always should be marked as a main clause. So two square brackets have to be put around the sentence, and we write MCL outside it to indicate that the entire sentence is the main clause. Now we start first by identifying the verb phrase in the sentence. Now in this sentence, the verb phrase is considered. So we have only one verb phrase. So we know that it is a simple sentence because it has only one verb phrase. We put it into brackets and mark it as the P, because verb phrases will only occupy the predicate position. Okay. Now we start by asking a number of questions in and around the predicate. I'm going to ask who considered, and I will get the answer they considered. So they is a noun phrase which answers the question who before the predicate considered, and therefore will be marked as subject and noun phrase, because like I said, whatever answers the question who, what, or whom before the predicate is the subject. So for my question who, I receive the answer they. So I know that that is my subject. Now I'm going to ask the same question after the predicate to get my object. So I'm going to ask they considered what. Okay. When I ask the question who, there is no answer. So I'm going to take the next question. They considered what. So I get the question 80s style as the answer to the question what after the predicate. So now I have got my object, and this is a noun phrase. So I mark it as noun phrase and object. Okay. Now the next portion that I have is fashionable. I know that fashionable is something that gives quality. I have to determine now whether this quality is attached to the subject or to the object. So I say they considered fashionable. That doesn't make sense because this does not mention the fact that my subject they were fashionable. Okay, it talks about something else being fashionable. So they considered 80s style fashionable. So now I know that the fashionable is being related to the 80s style. It's the 80s style which was fashionable and not they who were fashionable. So therefore, this is a quality that is attached to the object or qualifies the object. Therefore, I will call it as CO, that is object complement, and it is a noun. Sorry, I have marked it as a noun phrase. It should have been an adjective phrase. Okay, it's a fashionable is an adjective phrase. It's a mistake here that I marked it as noun phrase. It should be adjective phrase. Okay, and CO because it is complementing the object, and like I had mentioned, if it is a CO, it always will be placed after the object and not before the object. It will be placed after the object like it is in this particular sentence. Now I have last summer, which is, again I have done a mistake here. It's not PP, it should have been AVP. Okay, that is adverb phrase because last summer was an adverb phrase. When, because it answers the question when. When was it considered fashionable? Last summer. So it is an adverbial and it will be AVP. And you will also find that if I drop this particular phrase, my entire sentence still makes sense. I can still say they considered 80s style fashionable. This is what I meant when I said it is optional. Without the last summer also, the sentence can make sense. Now, I can move last summer also around. I can start the sentence by saying, last summer they considered 80s style fashionable. That's also correct. They considered 80s style last summer fashionable. That's not very correct, but you can say it in that form also. You can say they considered last summer 80s style fashionable. So last summer can be moved around and placed in various positions in the sentence. So that is how we identify an adverbial. We ask the questions related to adverbial, when, how, and find answers for it. Secondly, it is movable. Thirdly, it is optional. It can be dropped and it will still make complete sense. So this was a complete example of a SPOCA structure in place. In the next video, we will take a look at some of the examples of SPOCA structures and the complications that it can have. Thank you.